First oral question, Baroness Crawley.
My Lords, I beg to ask the question standing in my name on the order paper.
My Lords, the Government is acting to support families with the challenge of rising living cost by providing £12 billion of support for this financial year and next, increasing the national living wage and cutting the universal credit taper. Through our Way to Work programme and a new network of specialist progression champions, we are helping people get a job, get a better job and build their career, which we believe is the best route to managing living costs. And in everything through Way to Work, we're cognisant of single parents' issues.
My Lords, I'm glad the Government is seeing the need for some intervention in response to this tsunami in rising household costs. But I have to say to the noble lady, for whom I have a lot of respect, it does not nearly go far enough, especially for lone parents, 90% of whom are women, and 43% of whom live in poverty, according to the Women's Budget Group. Will the Government increase all benefits by 7% in line with inflation? Will it reintroduce the universal credit £20 increase and working tax credit equivalent, as well as paying the childcare element of universal credit up front instead of in arrears, to make it easier for lone parents to re-enter the workplace? Women, my Lord, should not be shouldering this cost of living catastrophe.
Yeah.
Well, I thank the noble Baroness for her intervention, and I will say again and again, we are cognisant and understand the issues faced by lone parents and single parents, not least of childcare and the barriers that stop them getting to work, and that's why our work coaches are there to do them. The exam question that the noble Baroness has given me, I'll pass to the Treasury, and you'll forgive me if I can't answer it.
My Lord, assuming there will be some extra benefit for those households subject to the benefit cap. If so, could my noble friend say what they are, and just as important, how easy or difficult it would be to access them?
Okay. Well, claimants can apply to their local authority for a discretionary housing payment if they need help to meet rental costs. We've got the Flexible Support Fund to help people as well, and we've given help to help with energy costs, which are rising exponentially. Of course, I've not tried to claim them myself, but from somebody who has, it is reasonably straightforward, and I'm not aware of any backlog in dealing with those claims when they've gone in.
My Lords, as the main managers of, and shock absorbers of poverty and inadequate social security benefits, women are bearing the main brunt of not just the benefit cap, but also the two-child limit. When will the Government take the advice of the former Minister, the noble Lord Freud, and scrap these poverty-creating policies?
Well, I understand the passion with which the noble Baroness makes her points, and all I can say, which I've said time and time again, is I will take it back to the department and make the representation known, but the response I'm not able to give.
My Lord.
Noble friend, look again at the report of the Economic Affairs Committee on universal credit, and in particular reconsider the decision not to reconsider the decision to take away £20 a week from the poorest families in the country. I understand that it's very expensive. It's £6 billion, but that is because it affects 6 million people. 6 million people who are going to cope with these astonishing increases in bills, not just energy bills, but bills across the way. Surely, in the name of humanity, if not in the interest of politics, this is something that we should look at again, when the Chancellor is getting increased revenue from the rising costs of petrol and other energy sources.
Well, many noble lords have made the point about the £20 uplift, and to be absolutely straightforward and open, there's nothing I can say about it other than for those who were on universal credit, the taper rate did compensate some of the withdrawal. And again, there's moments when I wish I was the Chancellor.
My Lords, let me spell out what this is going to do. Inflation is running at record rates. The Bank of England forecasts that next month it will go up to 7.25%. That forecast was before the war in Ukraine. Benefits are going to go up by 3%. My Lords, next month the price cap goes up to £2,000. People are currently being offered £3,500 fixed price tariffs. To put that in context, that's £67 a week. If someone's on universal credit, an adult or JSA, we give them £75 a week to live on. How are they possibly meant to manage?
Well, the Noble Baroness's explanation of the metrics on that is absolutely accurate. And inflation is gathering momentum, mainly because of pressures from rising energy prices and disruptions to global supply chains. And we understand about the higher cost of living, but at the risk of repeating myself, and I've no desire to annoy noble lords, there is no comment I can make about what the government may or may not do about the situation.
Here's a simple action that the government can take that will help the poorest households, many of whom are forced onto prepayment meters for their energy bills. The cost that they have to pay per unit of energy is hugely more than the average household has to pay. So, first of all, does the noble lady, the Minister, agree that that is scandalous, that we're asking the poor to pay the most? And secondly, will she force change onto the energy companies so that those who are the poorest pay the cheapest rate that's possible?
Yeah.
In our debate yesterday, the Noble Lord Shipley raised the issue of the higher energy cost due to the method of payment that many people face. So I've agreed to take that back to the department, and I'll do that. And I, again, make no premises on that. In terms of forcing change, I'll have a good go.
This evening, I believe it or not, hosted a dinner for the bailiff industry, as I call them. And they are expecting a veritable explosion in debt because people on benefits simply cannot pay council tax and all the other things they have to pay. Does the DWP have an estimate of that huge explosion of debt? If not, will the DWP please carry on and get that information, because you'll need it. This can only be resolved by the Treasury, and the DWP need their ammunition.
I'm not aware that the information the Noble Baroness has suggested we should have is there. The Noble Baroness makes a very good point about that, and I'll go back, talk to my colleagues and try to get that information.
My Lords, when it comes to single women, many of them are older, including mothers, and in poorer health, and also at risk of greater long-term unemployment. What is the government doing to address that issue?
Okay. Well, the government are doing an awful lot in this area, and despite the unacceptable rise in the cost of living and all the impacts on people, we are working morning, noon and night to get people back to work and into a job, a better job and a career so they can be self-sufficient. And the Restart programme really helps them to do that. It's intensive, tailored support, and I'm sure that will have great benefits for some people.
My Lords, the statement, or the spring statement, is due on the 23rd of March. And in view of that, would the noble lady, the Minister, talk directly with the Chancellor of the Exchequer to ensure that there is a one-off windfall tax on energy prices, because they have risen exponentially in the last 2 weeks, therefore disproportionately impacting on women, households and particularly single parents?
Again, another question which is very Treasury driven, and I have absolutely no doubt, in fact I know it for a fact, that the points that the Noble Lord Seeker has been making on this, I'm sure the Chancellor is well aware of them.
The 15 years from 2007 to 2022 are forecast to be the worst on record for household income. is the term cost of living crisis really adequate for the situation we're in now? What we're really seeing is the long-term collapse in the financial stability of British lives. This is not just a crisis of the moment. Don't we need to take a different approach to offer people true security, particularly, as the noble lady Baroness Lister said, single parents, overwhelmingly women who are bearing the greatest weight of this? Don't we need a universal basic income?
We've spoken many times about universal basic income, and I've heard nothing on the airwaves to suggest that that's being considered. But I would finish this question by saying it is a difficult time. We understand the great challenges that people face. Please don't think this government doesn't care, because it does.